It's improv. It's improv.
It's always improv. Hello, we are here. We are live. Always almost there. HF Pod, Great Beyond, Goose tour recap. Very, very excited to be back for the second one after another awesome show last night in Lowell. We've got a few people who were there, a couple people who were not. We've got special guest Tamara down there with Joey. We've got Danny Rosewoods from AAT making a rare appearance on Alive. We're very happy to have him today. This is also the first time that multiple Always Almost There hosts have been in a room together for a podcast. So a momentous occasion, if you will. And very, very exciting. Yeah. Before we get started, quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Eversio Wellness. Eversio functional mushrooms are here to help right now, whether you are gearing up for a show, going to sleep afterwards, or recovering and restoring the day after. With a wide range of health benefits, Eversio mushrooms help you make the most out of the moment through the ancient healing properties in their highly potent fruiting bodies. The organic certified therapeutic potency and their planet positive refill system are two of the many standout reasons that Eversio is my choice supplement. Be clear, chill, balanced, energized, protected, focused, and calm in the moment with Eversio mushrooms. Use code STORMSOUND15 for 15% off your order and ships anywhere in the US or Canada. Exciting stuff. Yes, mushrooms. So how's everyone doing today?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
It's very loud here. I apologize.
For anyone curious, Tamara and Joey are currently in line at Mohegan. They're boots on the ground at the venue. RJ back there has got his co-hosts, his wonderful children, who we are going to hear from hopefully in a little bit, because they also watched the show, so they've got to have some opinions. So also, yes, we'll mention this again later.
And we're live.
Ryan, you cut out a little bit. 7:15 start.
You want to get on? Dude, we got a bunch of rail riders want to be on the podcast.
That's the microphone Wi-Fi for you. Well, okay. Let's start talking about last night. Goose set opens with this sick drive into Echo combo. I think from the get-go, at least from my perspective, where I was directly Trevor's side, energy seemed way higher last night than in Portland, just right off the bat. It was cool having them jump right into like 17, 18 minute long jam off the bat, but it was really, really fantastic. Oh, hi, there's my family.
Hey, there's family.
Say hi, Storm family. Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, I agree. Having been in Portland on Wednesday and then watching last night from home, thought that energy, at least coming out from the get-go, was great. A drive is always a wonderful opener, proper spot for it. And they sort of just jumped right in. I mean, got through the composed section and sort of jumped off and landed in a wonderful space. The last sort of 5 minutes, I sort of have been calling it out, kind of almost like a no quarter vibe. Peter sort of was playing, using sounded like road, but basically like roads. I don't know if that was the vibe that he was using during that section, Ryan, but just beautiful space, very sort of haunting, and kind of let it breathe, which you don't get from an opener. So beautiful drip into Echo too. Yeah.
I mean, I got to say that transition was pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. That was definitely like a nice, really nice segue. Can I just say something, just because we talked about this, about the first show, the Portland show, about the Turbulence and Atlas Dogs openers. And I'm like a huge fan of that. And I just want to say for the record, and I'm curious, Daniel and Joey and Ryan and Neil, what you guys think, but, and tomorrow, of course, sorry. I want to know what you guys think about that. To me, Goose is like, maybe this is going to be sacrilege to say, but like Goose is like all about the songs to me. Like
good songwriting, you're saying?
Yeah, like and like them playing Turbulent. Like I think Turbulence is a great song. I know it's like it's not a new song, but like it's
New to
great. The singing's great, the structure is great. Like it's a great song. And I love their songs. And I think of course I love like the 20-minute jams, but like to me it's what makes them different is these like awesome songs. They're just really good at writing and they're really good at performing them, and like first and foremost the singing. But I'm not going to argue with the 20-minute
Yeah, something I noticed was I think Atlas Dogs was without the normal jam, and Echo of a Rose was without that like secondary jam too. Which like I guess you got 90 minutes. It's an opening set. You want to kind of get through the first couple songs, but I mean, the drive was enough. I mean, we were on the rail like the lights were blinding us right from the get-go. So like where night one was kind of a slow rise, like constantly going up, this was just heaters the entire time. So it was nice to see that dynamic.
Hi, Greg.
What's up, Greg? You're awake.
Greg.
Ryan. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
He's alive.
Happy Saturday, y'all. What did I miss?
We're talking about the drive into Echo.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're here just in time.
Yeah, right.
To talk about the opener.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great.
Cool.
Where were
Yeah.
you for the
Drive,
drive into the Echo?
Good drive.
I was during drive kind of wading through the Velvet Sea that is the Mill City, Lowell. Super rainy outside and there was a really long line. But got inside for Echo kicking off. I saw a tweet. I don't know who it was, but saying that every show that starts with drive is a good show. I won't say that that's entirely true, but it is a good through line. But it was a really, really strong start. Of course, I think this is what I was trying to get across on Wednesday is just, I think it was a completely different energy reacting to the music that was presented. Yes, it was Friday, but also, I feel like the guys really came out with a different level of comfort in an arena, and that really showed. And it was super cool. But yeah, that's all I have for now. I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
We're happy you made it.
Thank you. And perhaps I was kind of just feeling like there was more energy in the room because there were so many more people.
100%.
Like it was so packed in there yesterday, and so that could have had something to do with it.
Too many people.
Neil.
Yeah,
has a perspective on that.
I was like center field right in front of the soundboard at that show, and by the time SOS happened, I had like my elbows like in my hands like under my chin. It was so tight.
Yep.
And I was tweeting about it last night. I mean, at first it looked like everybody came down from their seats and just kind of jumped onto the floor. But then as the set went on, all the seats filled up and the place was just, there were so many people in there. It was bananas.
Yeah. A lot of amazing energy though. And they really picked songs, I think, that played to that kind of energy last night. After the Echo just firing up that Rockdale, and Rockdale doing what it does best, which is like, I think it was around 12 minutes, but just builds to peak after peak after peak.
Amazing.
Crowd was loving it as well. And then SOS, I think, maybe caught some people by surprise on just like how much it blew up towards the end, especially some unsuspecting, Trey or Fish fans who aren't as familiar. But, that ending, euphoric jam section of Dawn just absolutely killed last night. But really, really amazing song selection.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys talked about it on the night one stream, but SOS was on the set list for night one. It was skipped. Yep. So also on the set list for tonight, I don't know if you guys don't want spoilers, but a cover by The Band was on the set list last night that they skipped.
I hope you're not talking about this song that's not actually by the band, but everyone thinks it is, which is not fair.
No, it's not.
They
that
shouldn't
song.
do it.
Okay.
No.
Right. Yeah. Please.
Like
please.
They shouldn't do it.
Is it the Jammier band cover?
The good one, yeah.
The good
Not
one.
the one by
Whoa,
the
okay.
not the one by the asshole from Jersey.
There's one that's by one of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century that people think is by the band, but it's not.
RJ, I
Right.
think you have that
Another one.
mistaken. That's the asshole from Jersey I'm talking.
That's for another show.
Yeah,
Ryan,
yeah.
Ryan, someone asked me if you and I are the Trey and Rick of jam band podcasting, and I just want to know what you think of that.
Me too.
I'm not saying it's true or false.
I feel like that's a huge compliment, but
It would be a huge compliment to me.
I can
I'm
jump
sorry.
on board. I can jump on board that.
It's a diversion.
I appreciate whoever said that. Thank you.
You
That's
guys,
a hasty take.
I
I'm
know
never
it
gonna
is.
let Ryan forget that, by the way. That's gonna be right on every podcast from here to the end of time.
Can I say something though, just about this? Watching this. By the way, Jesse. Hey Jesse. Love you, man. Can't wait to see you at a show. So yes, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like Greg, I don't know, Greg and Joey, like what your take is, but I feel like Rick has this like command of the stage this year that, like, you know, you guys have been seeing them a lot longer than I have, but I feel like even in 2019, he was a little more not like reluctant to shine or be the center. I just feel like he's like grown into this comfortable place of being like fully like when they're on stage, not in the sit-ins, but just during the Goose sets, like he's really like become a powerful presence on stage, like to the point where it's really like notable to me. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Maybe it's always been that way to you guys, but I'm just curious if you have a take on that.
So I do. I think I'm picking up on the vibe that you're putting down. I think a big part of it, actually, though, is how much the band has improved, like individually and also as a unit. So it's like, I don't necessarily think it's him diving harder into a leadership role as much as like everybody's firing on all cylinders, and it makes it a lot easier to approach whatever you're performing with a different type of confidence when you know that kind of everything's firing all around you. And you know, and in a certain type of way, I think it is still like, you know, it's definitely discernible. But you know, part of it really, I think, just has to do with all of them communicating so well.
I think that's a very astute observation. we talk a lot about the band being precise and like, you know, on tonight. And yeah, it's all of them are performing at an extremely high level every night. And you know, it's really been evident even just in their sets, you know, how much fun they're having on this tour, you know, big smiles all around. And especially when Trey's on stage, like, you know, I had a great view of, you know, Jeff facing towards where I was sitting last night. And during that Arcadia jam, he just like ear to ear grin on his face, just having the best time. And so it's just, yeah, it's a joy to watch them play at such a high level. And also, you know, they're possibly, you know, there are a lot of people who are coming to these shows for Goose. Like you can tell by the volume of the Goose before and in between songs and whenever, but there are definitely also a large number of people who were either skeptical or just hadn't ever listened to Goose, who are being exposed to them for the first time. And so they're coming out there, and, you know, last night's set, I think especially kind of showed so many different sides of Goose's songbook. You know, you get Drive, Echo, Rockdale for that like classic Visuto. You know, that Rockdale is like, I feel like is the most Matt Campbell-y song in the repertoire, and I always think of like him singing it with Visuto when Goose does it. And then, you know, SOS with that crazy ending, and then Silver Rising I think was the perfect you know, slower quote unquote song for last night, you know, even though it still gets crazy at the end, but just, you know, really showing off that amazing songwriting and amazing playing.
I want other people to talk. I just want to tell you guys, I've said this on Twitter a bunch. I think Silver Rising is like top 2 or 3 Goose songs.
Yeah.
Singing, songwriting, the concept, it works so perfectly. The vocal harmonies, everything.
Isn't it called Werewolf now?
This is a song about a werewolf.
It's a song
This
about
is
a
a
werewolf.
song about a werewolf.
Oh,
I just think that's doing it so much injustice to say it's a song about a werewolf. It, like,
A song
it
about
totally,
a werewolf.
you know, it's so much more than that.
It is
Greg,
more than that.
Greg, what do you feel about that take?
So I think that take is like there's a through line, and that is that Vasudo has played Drive, Echo, Rockdale, and SOS. Like those songs all were kind of like crafted in their infancy in the Vasudo days. And one thing, is, and even Turbulence, all of our favorite opener, like the songs now, I think, are coming to fruition in a way where 10 years ago when Vasudo was playing them, they weren't quite there yet. Like, I think the musicality, the experience on stage. And so taking some time to revisit this stuff with a fresh new look in an arena is probably super cool. But also, like, I think they're starting to sound the way that the guys had originally envisioned, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
and
cool.
like, I think last night it really showed that Goose, we talked about this after Goose Miss, would Goose's sound translate to an arena? And the way some of those songs hit last night, it absolutely
Arena.
And it's funny, Greg, when you say that all of these were written at shows with probably like 30 people at them, right?
That's generous.
And
Yeah.
now they're playing them in front of, what was it, like 6,000 last night?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
SOS was built for that kind of arena.
100%.
So well.
Yeah, Rockdale as well. Like, those two tunes with the way they peak.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this? I think also tonight is Goose's first show where they're in a venue this size. Like they've got people behind them. I don't know if they've.
Oh, that's right. Behind the stage is open.
With behind stage.
They weren't in February.
In February, it wasn't open.
No.
And they're playing to the 10,000 seat sold out Mohegan Sun tonight, which is nuts.
We're sort of witnessing this in real time, and I know you guys know Fish pretty well, like, or as well as I do. But like, Fish went through this transition in '94, right?
Yeah.
Where they went from, but they were still playing a club, then a theater, then an amphitheater, then a club. But eventually they were playing arena rock, and Trey has talked about this. I'm sure Rick and the band feels the same way. Like it's so much different to play for 50 people in a club than it is to play for 6,000 people in an arena. It sounds obvious, but I just mean in terms of the song choices, the way you actually play the instruments, the effects, the sound. I mean, I think it's a harder transition than people give it credit for, but it seems like Rockdale is an arena rock song, right?
Yeah.
But I think their choices have been really good for these venues. But it does seem like they're getting to this point where now they're on these bigger stages. And I don't know. I don't know how much they're thinking about that, but it does seem like it's a big part of kind of decision-making about how you play.
Would you guys rather play a show in front of 50 people who know you the best on earth and can be judgmental, or 6,000 people that you don't know at all?
Well, it's like, do you have that competitive nature of like, maybe these people aren't the biggest enemy, but like, I'm going to get them by the end of this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It depends.
It's like the challenge.
That's how Trey was always. It was like, we're going to get these people on board.
Yeah.
And if not, they're coming along for the journey anyway. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
we're gonna piss in their ears and they're gonna like it.
Yeah, right.
What's the
Entertainment Weekly.
I think the set list though as a whole, like last night, was just, if you just top to bottom, I sort of was raving about it. I mean, song choice.
Yeah.
A little drive into Echo had like some different feels, sort of given some different genres. Rockdale a little more blues heavy. I think that Trey and Rick have really sort of, jumped on together. The Wisteria Lane in particular had like sort of a Allman Brothers kind of guitar trading feel, and so I think that was cool. And then obviously SOS is just like we said, an arena song. It's giving that was a good taste of a lot of different big Goose songs, obviously finishing with Lane and Arcadia. But Silver Rising is like a chance, like we were saying. It is. I agree. It's a chance to shine. It's slow, vocal harmonies. Rick really stands out and has a moment where he's singing to a room full of people, and he's got the voice for it. That's for sure. He's got the looks for it, as we know. We'll talk about that a little later. Some people eyeing him up maybe, but
your point about Trey and Rick just sounding so good together during that sit-in. After last night, I think I'm now looking for that In Memory of Elizabeth Reed cover before the end.
Seriously, dude. It literally, I was listening.
Trey and Rick could just go and front the Allman Brothers now, and
dude, so almonds. J-Rad covered Elizabeth Reed last night in Philly. So,
Oh, wow.
you know, maybe that's happening. Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, when Rick was playing with Graham for the Phil Esch session, I kept thinking back to the Allman Brothers because they were doing this like overlapping trading solos that made it seem like they were trying to do that like Derek Warren thing. But I think, you know, it's difficult when it's the first time playing with somebody. So obviously there were some missteps, but there's sometimes they nailed it. That Wisteria was like just one of them did a little riff, the other one was right on top of the harmony.
They kind of kept that theme throughout like the collaborative songs last night.
Yeah.
They kept falling back to those kind of, you know, those harmonies
way-
and like Allman Brothers sounding
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
natural the way they like traded off and then like naturally kind of came together for certain things. It like brought tears to my eye. I mean, it's easy for my eyes to tear up at a concert, but it was really like, and just seeing Rick kind of like smile and like, you know, just be so much more animated and then watching the rest of the band watch Rick and Trey. It was really, it was just, but yeah, that constant theme, like that Allman Brothers-y. I think both jams kind of at different points, like when Rick sat in with, am I losing? Yeah, he did. Yeah. And then when I'm so like present, like the least I don't remember the set list unless I looked at it, but in both collaborations, again, like that theme and such different songs, but that theme kept kind of.
Yeah,
coming
there was one point
Communication
where
is insane.
there's one point where Peter wasn't even playing piano. He was just like tapping his knees, just having the best time.
Yeah,
Just watching it.
in the Arcadia jam, I saw. I think it was Peter who kind of cued it for everybody else to drop out right before like that. Yeah,
that was great.
He kind of cued everyone and.
Let them do it.
Sorry. But yeah, it was just cool. It was cool to see that too. But
I mean, Trey. We talked about this the other day, Ryan. But Trey loves playing with other guitarists, and I mean, he dropped into that Wisteria jam so fast, and it was so like almonds. That's all I was thinking the whole time. It's like it's the fucking Allman Brothers. This is so great, but not in a way that like where Fish jams sound like the Allman Brothers with Trey. Just it's sort of Trey and Page, and Fish, but pretty amazing jam.
Yeah,
it
I
seems
do.
like. Oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
No, you finished that thought. I was going.
No, thanks. I was just gonna say that it also. I mean, obviously, all of you know Trey better than I do, but I'm just thinking back to like that Chicago, like the Dead 50 thing. Trey was. I mean, I guess it's subjective, but I thought a lot more reserved and just like being Trey and like so respectful, and I almost wanted to be like play, come on, and I mean that was just my kind of perception. It was so beautiful, but I think it seems like Rick and Trey are really kind of respectfully and naturally just pushing each other and like go for it. And it seems like neither of them are really like they're not stepping on each other's toes, but neither of them are also holding back at all. And like it's really kind of cool to see.
Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, one thing that I think I've noticed over these last two shows that I think is like sonically different than what happened at Radio City is that Rick's tone, and maybe this is just me, maybe it's in the boards, maybe it's in his rig, but his tone has beefed up to kind of match just how like thick Trey's tone is. I mean, I can't really think of a better adjective for it than that.
Earthy.
But yeah, like I think at Radio City, Rick sounded like a little bit thin with Trey, and it didn't sound nearly as good as it's sounding now. But their guitars sound so awesome together. And like, that's not a thing that just naturally happens. It's maybe a massive coincidence. Maybe it's something Rick has thought about, but now when they're playing those twin lead things together, it just, I don't want to do the peanut butter and chocolate analogy, but I mean, holy shit, it really is. It's incredible.
But the communication is just, I mean, the level of communication between them is just insane to watch. I mean, and I just want to say one thing real quick. I just watching the webcast. If you watch when Trey sits in with Goose, he's not ever looking at Rick's hands. He's just staring at Rick the whole time. And that's happened to me a couple times, not on stage, but like in conversations with Trey. And when he stares at you, it's intense, He's like, he really is focusing on what's going on. And then when they sit in with Tab, they're sort of like watching what's happening musically. And I just think it's interesting because Trey's sort of like just running shit with his eyes. You know what I mean? And it's clear that he's like just so locked in. It doesn't matter what notes or chords they're playing. He's just watching people's faces. And it's It's intense, but like really fucking crazy to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can quote Bruce,
yes,
it's probably because Rick's jawline looks like he was chiseled from a limestone quarry.
I thought that was
you know.
like, yeah.
I understand
Same.
eye contact is great, but I think the jaw is sending back some vibes that are really allowing them to harmonize on guitar.
Do you think Trey's falling in love?
I mean,
After
You
Strange
hear the
Design
way
last
those-
night,
yeah.
I mean, Strange Design definitely.
I'm working
seems
on a
like
press
serenade.
release.
I don't know.
It didn't seem like they were playing it for the audience. Like they were looking at each other.
right?
I was just
Love is
sitting
in
there
the air.
watching it. I was like, oh my god, this is so
100%.
insane.
And I just want to put out into the universe because Neil reminded me. I want them like, please, just like maybe trade guitars for a song. That would be really
Cool.
like.
I'm sure Rick's gotten a bit of Languedoc time at soundcheck.
That's it. I want to see like how we would play it. I don't know, and also Trey playing Rick's guitar, how that would sound.
Yeah, I think it's also tone is in the fingers, so it would still sound very much like Trey and Rick. But yeah, I would love to see Rick playing the Languedoc. Before we go to talk about the tab set, can we have a brief interlude where we go to the children correspondence there behind RJ? Do we have any opinions about the Goose set or the tab set? Anything about last night's show that want to be shared from any of them?
Tell us what you thought about that concert we watched earlier today. Which one? The first one, the long one. Remember when Trey was playing with that other guy? He's still writing up his recap.
Okay. Thank you. Well, that was great. Now we
Did we talk about Wisteria? Wisteria or Arcadia?
Oh, Allman Brothers, bro.
Yeah, Arcadia. I mean, that was a lot better than the Arcadia at Radio City.
Yeah, it's what
Okay.
Greg. Well, actually, all you guys who were there, or who were
It was
watching,
better. I agree.
do you think that the improv has improved from night one to night two? I mean, can you see evolution in terms of how they're playing,
totally.
or do you think it? Greg, go ahead.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's just one, probably just having a little bit more time to rehearse because there was a lot less rehearsal than people think for this tour. But then also, after night one, I think they have such a feel for the direction that they're going, and it's the jaw, like I said. But like, really, it's over time. By show 5, I can only imagine that these bands will stay together forever.
Yeah.
Love is
Just
in the air.
not separate.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think actually night one, in terms of pure improv, actually had the better jam in that All I Need. I think last night, at least for me, it felt like a lot of just guitar solos and kind of like this back and forth kind of like ribbon thing, which is a very different thing than improvisation. And I was thinking to myself a couple times, like, this is cool, like this twin lead thing that they're doing and this kind of dogfight thing that's going on. But I was also wondering when somebody would kind of step back and maybe play rhythm guitar for a bit and then allow somebody to explore a theme and then maybe pick up on it. Because that did happen in All I Need in Portland, but it didn't feel like it happened at all last night.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what happens going forward in terms of, where their comfort zones become, because they're still feeling each other out as musicians. And I think they are playing together a bunch. Ryan and I ran into Marta Getty before we recorded today, and she was saying like they have been playing together
like a lot every day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, the more comfortable they get with each other as musicians, I think we might see more of that like actual improvisation, right? Because there are just two categories there. Like, there's guitar solos, and then there's, making
Type 2
completely
jamming.
like type 2 jamming, which
Yeah.
I think there will be some, and I'm psyched about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Neil. It also felt like there was a different intention last night in the sit-in. In Portland, it felt like, like, hey, we're going to bring Trey on stage and we're going to jam this out for 20 minutes, making a statement here. Last night, it felt like they were like, okay, we're just going to get up here and we're going to just, shred, and it's going to be awesome. And I think that kind of reflected the energy of the room last night too. I think that's exactly what the right move was, given the energy of the room last night. Though I do hope, tonight and over the rest of the tour, we do see more of that, deeper improvisational side. I think based on the strength of that All I Need, and as they get more comfortable with each other, there are going to be some incredible jams as the tour goes on, depending on the song selection, whether they're going to repeat, like, are we going to see, in a couple more shows, like in Moon, are they going to do All I Need again? Or are we going to see that no repeats through 8 shows? So, I'm excited to see that as well. It's also interesting to note, if I'm not mistaken, we're 2 shows in and they have played 0 songs from Dripfield.
Yes.
But, have we gone 2 shows, since maybe the spring without seeing any songs from the album? Like,
Probably not. That's
especially Born and Hunger Site has been getting so much play recently.
I don't
And
think you could.
are we gonna see that again? Or are they gonna come heavily into rotation, or are we gonna see them focusing on other areas of the catalog? So
Yeah, Ryan, why are you asking us? That's your job to know. You tell us when the last time they did that.
What Ryan today told me that a specific version of Rockdale that I love fell out of his top 64 jams a couple months
Is it
ago.
even in
So
yours too?
It is in mine.
Oh,
You're out of
okay.
your mind.
I was hoping it was a joke, but I don't think it was.
It's in
I
the
think it was real.
lower echelon.
Which one? The Cleveland?
No, the
Nashville.
Nashville Rockdale.
Oh yeah.
It's
They've
the perfect example of the song, in my opinion. So I'm with you, RJ. We can gang up on Ryan on the internet.
And by the way,
tell
just
him
to the point I made earlier about being about the songs, like my kids will sing Fish songs, like especially the ones that Tom wrote that have great hooks and whatnot, but they will walk around and say, going down to the Rockdale,
Yeah.
we're gonna lay it all down for you. They'll do
Listen.
that all the time. Do you want to sing Rockdale for them or not? How does it go? Sorry. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, listen. Cleveland Rockdale is very much at the top of my list. It's very up there. So I'm
Sorry,
not,
that was a diversion. I'm sorry.
not the biggest Nashville guy, but tangents are great. Tangents are what we do.
They've only played 1 song from Moon Cabin, so I think that's also a testament to the depth of the catalog. Also,
That's a good humble
yeah.
brag, Greg.
Oh no,
People who are
Yeah,
like,
they,
"This Moon Cabin."
they did it.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you happen to know the PR guy for this band?
I love it. I think it's a great call. I think it's a great call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of
I
the
mean-
sit-ins I really want is a Jive Lee sit-in. Like Jive 2, Jive Lee, I think Trey
Oh,
would
yeah.
really rip on. So,
that would hit.
That makes me wonder. I mean, obviously they're pros and they can get through any changes. It's not like but that kind of that thought makes me wonder if they do kind of speak ahead of time about collaborations, because Jive, the Jives aren't just simple, one key types of songs. And obviously Trey is a master, and he was up there just on the spot at Radio City for songs that weren't the most simple songs. And obviously he can get through anything, but I wonder if that just makes me wonder if they really do, if they were to decide to kind of collaborate on one of the Jives.
Yeah, it seemed like Night One Pancakes, he was figuring it out the whole way through.
And
of course, my jam,
even Pancakes was a little bit more of a repetitive,
straightforward.
But, so I wonder if they do they practice them, and I don't know. I guess I don't know why I made that comment. It's just I'm so curious.
That's really
about the process.
It's a good point, and I do think. I mean, it seems like Trey is very focused on getting things right during the sit-ins, and during the Goose sit-ins with Tab, it just is pure joy. Everyone's just smiling and having a good time. And I feel like Trey is a little bit more like he was at Radio City. He wants to get it right, and he wants to play the songs in the right way. And he's staring at Rick, trying to figure out what to do next. And I feel like the Tab, it's interesting. The sit-ins seem totally different to me. The one is let's be focused on the music and go deep, and then the Tab stuff is just let's everyone have a blast and just be super happy.
I also think something that may play into that or not, I don't know, is the fact that a lot of the band members are Fish fans, and so they already know a lot of these songs so well, and
Right.
Peter's been practicing that Paige Wolfman's part forever.
Exactly.
and I handed it to Liz, and Rick gets the
Yeah, that was great. Well, talking about the Tab set last night, I thought overall it was a much stronger set, at least energy and flow wise, than in Portland. In Portland, it definitely felt like a bit of a dip, them following Goose. But last night, It felt like they came on, they were swinging for the fences. I really, again, where I was sitting, I was really dialed in on Desron and, his playing last night, and the rhythm section is just so good. And he's such an incredible bass player, from that Cayman Review opener immediately. Like I love that song. It was the first Tab song I saw live at my first Tab show, which was almost 10 years ago, this January. But
I can't believe that you were like 4. That's crazy.
I had just turned 12.
Okay, sorry.
I turned 22 tomorrow.
I know it's not a good joke. It wasn't a good joke. I'm sorry.
It was good.
It
It
was
was
good.
good.
It was
He was
a good
12,
joke.
not 4.
Ryan, what are you asking for your birthday show?
A Moby. I've been
I
saying
like
this
that.
for a very long time. That is the top of my list Goose song that I would love to see live, and that's all.
It's a good thing the whole band is listening to this right now. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm just grateful that I get to
Hey, guys.
see them on my birthday, because Fish never plays in mid-November. And last year Goose was in Texas on my birthday, so I'm incredibly happy that
When's your birthday, Brian? So we all know.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Shit. All right.
Yeah,
So we
mine's
got Tom-
Monday. If anyone cares.
Monday. So we got Tom's birthday's today. We
Yeah.
got Ryan
happy
tomorrow.
birthday.
Joey Monday.
Yeah, I
Looks
didn't
like-
want to say it in front of your parents, Ryan, but we're Valentine's Day babies. That's what it is. There's a million mid-November birthdays. 9 months ago was Valentine's Day.
Tom's wife's birthday is the same day, so they're both 11-12, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably the case for them.
Absolutely.
Love is in the
Uh,
air, like we're
love-
saying.
Love is in the air. What, Greg? What do you think is next in terms of the Trey sit-in, and do you think they're going to mix it up? My wife was asking me that today when we were watching the stream from last night. She's like, "Is it going to be just Trey every night?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." But what's your take?
I think they're gonna mix it up. I mean, they're definitely gonna mix it up.
There
It's
was a
like
tweet from Jeff last night where he said he was very excited to play sax with James today. So
Yep. I mean, I think they're definitely gonna mix it up. It's this limited amount of time. These songs are complicated. There are a lot of changes, and I think when they do mix it up, they really want to do it the right way. And one thing I can say too is like, I think that there's a lot of integrity and not showing up and having the Tab horns and Rick play any songs thus far that they played during the Phil and Friends run. It's like, because I feel like they did some awesome stuff together, but like to kind of step away from that and really focus on this, I think the intentionality and learning material is there. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything that's going to happen. I barely know
I feel like we've heard
any
that
of these guys.
I think but it would be we'd be kidding ourselves if we're not queuing up for a hot tea or an arrow with the horn section. I mean, like,
Right.
Seems like
kinda-
it.
That's exactly what I was
I
doing.
mean,
Cool tea.
yeah,
Connecticut
exactly.
Tiger,
And
it's
I
a
love
lot.
that style. That's like, I love the slowed, tea style that Dripfield had. Yeah, there we go. So I think there's going to be there's got to be some horn tracks coming in. I would
What
love
about-
to see Jeb on stage with Tab though. Let Jeb
It's
rip
gonna.
it
It
up.
seems like it's maybe gonna happen. What about Trey and Rick just looking into each other's eyes, playing slow ready? Do you think?
Like
I
guys
think
this-
Peter would have something to say.
Or
yeah,
They're going to play
people would
Waste
melt.
together.
Wait,
aren't
wait,
they?
wait.
Are they going to play
What?
Waste together?
if
It's
they
just
do
so
slow ready
acoustic.
together,
Could happen.
does Trey get an auto-tune pedal?
He should.
It's a modulator.
I saw someone say-
It's
someone
not
say
answering the question, Greg.
It's not
Hard
Taboo's,
tune, they're called.
Taboo's tour until Trey's on the modulator. Until we get Trey on the modulator.
Also, just in terms of Rick and Trey looking each other in the eyes, someone mentioned that they haven't played. I guess this is irrelevant because it's just my opinion, but someone mentioned that they haven't played any Dripfield songs yet. I can only imagine just like the collaboration being on like a ballad, like Born, and kind of like that Bliss Jam song, something like that, or like I could just. Yeah, I guess that's it. But I would love just like a ballad. I'm a sucker for soft songs. So
When
to
the-
see both of them-
726.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Somebody
There you
said
go.
that last night. Yeah.
But when they whipped out the acoustic guitars, RJ, I was thinking about the live podcast they did with you, where they covered a couple Fish songs and that Birds of a Feather. So
Yeah.
like a fast acoustic
yeah.
would be.
I mean,
pretty
Brian
sweet.
and Robert.
Brian and
I was about
Robert,
to
right,
say,
Robert too, yeah.
Oh.
Great
Get Tom
vocal
up there to
harmonies.
sing.
Great vocal harmonies.
So what
What
do we
about,
fly Trey out to Colorado in December for the Revelo tour? Is that what I'm hearing?
What do you mean we?
We as in the community collectively. I don't know.
I just that would Rebelo with Trey would be incredible. But I think like I want to hear also just some like gross delay pedals, just tiptoe into kind of like, you know, Biscuits territory. Like let's get a little Creatures and Into the Mist and just get out there and see what happens.
You're saying one of those songs with Trey? Kind of the
Yeah.
Creature
Delay
curious to
Trey.
see.
Everyone talks about
like
that.
Trey.
I mean, Trey was having fun with the pedal. Like he's getting more comfortable with just going in with the effects, right? So it's going to be great. On a fish note, real quick, I just want to say I think I've officially come around to the fact that I think Steam is a better song with Tab than it is with Fish because of the vocal harmonies with Jen and Nat. I mean, it's so awesome when they have the backing, and of course with Fish it's like paid, you know, whatever, it's all good, but like it's a great Tab song with horns and the female backing vocals.
Yeah, they make it a little scarier. It has that like ghostly feel of like the woo woo. Like I'm not going to sing the backups, but yeah. Also, speaking of their vocals, it would be cool to hear Jen Hartswick sing a Goose song. I mean, as long as we're just throwing out wishes, why not?
Just
Or
get
like-
the harms. Just get those harms.
Yeah.
What song are you looking for, Joey?
I was honestly hoping for like an Arcadia. I was thinking back, we were talking about it, the Pizza in the Park Arcadia from 2019. I think it's June 15th, where there was a trumpet and like Rick trading solos. As long as there's a trumpet out there to solo, might as well throw Jen a line. You know, maybe get Natalie out there, do another line, whatever. But yeah, I don't know any of the songs.
I mean, In Your Eyes or Slow Ready, like they did the
Yeah.
Greek with Lucius.
Yeah.
How about Mais Que Nada with Natalie singing in Portuguese?
Ooh,
Yes,
Natalie.
there we go.
What a call. Natalie.
He's an ideas guy here.
I'm hoping for a 1977 at some point. So
I can't believe I know they're all watching, both bands, the whole band. They're
They're
crowded around one
gathered
laptop.
we're going,
Right.
how
They're
did we not think of
The
this?
phone.
not
I'm
the
looking. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I can guarantee you they
We
are
talk
doing
about this all the time. We know they were watching last night because I said I'd really like to see a Wisteria with Trey. And we got our Wisteria
The
with
pod
Trey.
gets results.
And I also said there would be a ghost, and there was a ghost. So I mean clearly
that's
that
why
means
we
they're
started
watching.
this.
Yeah,
Chances
they're into it. Yeah.
Chances were.
A long con for requests, you know.
Nice
Matthew
work,
Ross is
everyone.
hoping for a 5.877. I think that's a pretty good. It's a good prediction.
Okay, so Ryan, what is the so okay, first of all, the strange design we talked about that. It was so beautiful. What a like beautiful little kind of place there. But I think the Wolfman's Llama first tube from the first night was a better set of Goose playing with Tab. I don't know what you guys think, but what was your take on that whole like just the segment that was a sit-in?
They you know, it felt like the Goose sit-in with Tab was a little bit underutilized last night. Like, you know, as we mentioned earlier, like the Tab sit-in is more of just like we're going to get out there and we're going to have a lot of fun. And, you know, that definitely happened last night. Like the Blaze On was so fun with like everybody on percussion and then Ciro taking it into that, you know, drum, you know, stomping outro thing as they walked off stage, which was so cool. But yeah, I feel like, again, similar with Trey going in on Wisteria and Arcadia and not, you know, taking it into crazy type 2 territory like they did with All I Need in Portland. I think back on the train, Steam, you know, and Blaze On, they were just focusing on having a good time with each other. And they did. And that, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you know, we focus a lot on improv and jamming being the measure of what makes a show amazing. But this was also just, again, it's such a joy to see them having such a great time on stage. And so if they want to go out there and do that, like, do it. It's still seeing, you know, people from some of my favorite bands playing together. Like,
And you got to remember, night one was also like a big surprise too. So the energy was like, oh my God, they're coming out. What are they going to do? So like that in a way added a level to how excited we were night one. But I do agree that night one, like that slow llama was so good. Like the sit-in just killed. But that strange design with that one line of, can I bring a few companions with me on this? The whole place went nuts. I don't know if it came through on the stream.
Yeah,
But it's such a nice moment.
Also, Trey saying that when they were backstage and he mentioned and like he asked Rick how old he was, and Rick was like, "I was 4."
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think with the you were one. I was like a month old.
Yeah.
But I also think with the collaborations, I think Goose coming out like the first night, like I think it plays into kind of like their goals, like Goose coming out with a bass player and a percussionist and kind of double instruments is of course a lot harder to kind of I guess figure out as opposed to like if it was just Rick and just Peter on like on Wolfman's or but yeah, just things I've been thinking about, like it just, also finding a place for Trevor both nights was
Double bass first tube was pretty sweet.
They gave him the shaker.
That was
yeah,
cool.
I think
We got a shaker.
so. At least so far, Trey sitting in with Goose has been, I think, a lot in terms of planning and instruments has been a lot like easier in a sense than like having multiple band
But
members
way
from
more-
Goose coming out.
But way more out there in terms of improv. Like it's created this
Yeah.
really cool, but like less. It's just like he learns 3 chords and then he jumps in and it turns into a 20-minute jam, which is amazing. One of my friends who's not familiar with Goose texted me last night and was like, I think the bass player would be happier just being backstage than like shaking that shaker.
Somebody,
I think it's like
somebody drew the comparison to that, like the Bob Dylan from "We Are the World" or whatever it is. I think Trevor looked happier.
Maybe.
Right. Well, it's just he doesn't have a lot of expressions on stage. He has a lot of expressions in general, though. In my experience, he's a great dude. I gotta say, and Greg, maybe you have some thoughts on this, but I was during the Wisteria Jam, I was just sort of observing like how much Peter has excelled at playing the keys over the past few years, like the fills and Ryan, you know this stuff better than I do, but like just the fills he's playing and it was like really impressive. He looked like a lifelong keys player.
I mean, that and SOS too.
Yep.
That organ solo.
I always say that like moving out is my barometer for Peter's growth. Which I think also would be a super cool cover. But the level of comfort he has on stage playing at this level with these musicians on keys is absolutely incredible. And I think part of this, there's so much confidence that it takes to, like you can get to a certain level with an instrument. I have a lot of dusty instruments in this room. There's even keys. And I do my best Peter all the time, but there's so much confidence that you need to be able to just step out and do it. And I remember when he sat in with Cheese at Red Rocks, he played Jellyfish, and this was pretty early on in his keys journey. And I was like, oh, it's like, is he ready for this? And he just rose to the occasion. And I think one thing about Peter is like, I don't know very many people who feed off the energy of the crowd like he does. It's awesome. Like he'll have that mirror in front of him for a reason, and it's just so like while he's doing his thing, he can see how people are reacting, and it's a beautiful thing. I like to play music without anyone around. That makes me my best. Yeah.
Ryan,
Also,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tamara.
No, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna say kind of like off just in terms of like obviously I'm still relatively a young Goose fan comparatively, so I can't speak as much to the growth. I mean, there's been growth since I've been a fan, but in terms of just confidence, I remember I had a lesson. I was lucky enough to have a lesson with Peter once during like quarantine when they were doing those, and it was more it was less musical. I mean, I guess like technical. It was more kind of just mindset, and I was talking to him about kind of just his thought process going into like just situations, and if his attitude kind of helps him play well, or does he need to kind of start playing well first in order to kind of, and he just said something like, I was kind of also sorry. I'm sorry, that was a little scary. Lost my train of thought.
is.
You were talking about how either he has to
Oh,
start playing
yeah,
well
sorry.
or
Thank you.
it's the energy.
So yeah, thank you. I mean, a lot of it I think is natural for him, but he said one thing that just stuck with me, and I use it in life in like all situations, and I think it really speaks to like kind of his attitude. He said, "I honestly don't even know what." I think the context was like, I don't know, just like showing up in a musical, a jam situation where there's any pressure. And he said at one point, when I show up, I am, of course, now that I'm like speaking, he goes, I'm unapologetically me. It's what he said. He said, wherever I go, when I show up, I'm unapologetically me. And just kind of how that attitude, like he's just going to play. And, this is Peter. We had like a lesson, and I've been using that just in life. And it was just like to kind of, and he says he really does that. And I just, since I've heard him say that and hearing people like Greg and like all of you who like know him obviously better and can speak more to his kind of like progression, like technically, it's cool to kind of just hear him talk about how he thinks about it. And it just really, I don't know, like just, you
don't dance like that during Slow Ready.
Yeah, like I am unapologetic. Like I'm gonna do me, and whatever happens. But like I'm me, and that's that. And like, it was just a cool thing to kind of, and then hearing all of your perspectives is just.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you for being like an unannounced, very special guest today.
Yeah, really.
Thanks for letting me.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I talking too much? Like,
no, we got it. We got to get you back on again soon.
Cool.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Also, just in case anybody who's watching still hasn't seen the news, tonight's show will be starting at 7:15, not 7:45, as per an announcement on Goose's social media about an hour and a bit ago.
You skeptical, Greg?
You're gonna listen to them about the time. No, no, I think that looks to be correct.
Yeah, I feel like it's supposed to be like they changed it to 7, but realistically,
it's to lower your
saying 7:30, but 7:45.
I think if I recall correctly, it's always Mohegan has like more rigid protocol, I think, than anywhere. Gotta get out there and gamble. But yeah, it's
yeah, they need to get
telling me we were just sitting at a table at the beginning of this, and then we had to drop out. Some guy was like, "Yeah, we need this table. We need to take this table." I was like, "All right," we set up, went over somewhere else, and now the table's just sitting there empty again. So I don't know.
Should have given you the Great Beyond banner.
Yeah, right.
So Mohegan Sun, special place in Connecticut, like kind of, and I'm the same age as all the guys, and the casino opened probably when we were all in elementary school. So Mohegan and Foxwoods had these like crazy marketing campaigns, which I realized were really appealing to children, because I like saw these and I was like, man, I can't wait to go to Mohegan Sun. And so like I have seen so many different concerts there, and there's like the really well-known venues, the Meadows, formerly like the New Haven Civic Center, New Haven Coliseum, Hartford Civic Center. And, Mohegan just kind of has emerged and had really, really good music over time and almost become, like I'd say, a pretty legendary place in Connecticut. And it's super cool that they're going to be able to take this stage again, this time with Trey. But it's a pretty incredible thing. If you're like bouncing around pre-show, ask any Connecticut natives if they can like remember the Mohegan commercials or sing the song from Foxwoods. You'll get a lot of answers.
Do you want to sing it for us?
Yeah, you got it.
I'm not even going to try that. So that anyone can hear it. No way.
Okay. I'll maybe I'll do it for socials later.
I want to hear it right now. Come on, Greg.
All right. Pop the cork, make it happen. Spin the wheel, fingers snapping. That's yeah. Right. So yeah. There's a lot more. Life is good. Yeah. Life is good. Life is sweet. Grab yourself a rosy. Yeah. There's more.
I love it.
There's more. Yep. So maybe I'll sit in today. I'll do that.
So you're telling me we're gonna have a Greg Knight freestyle on the Mohegan Sun jingle tonight?
I'm gonna sing the cheesy jingle. There will be no rapping.
I did see Jay here, so Jay Blakesburg. So I don't know.
Jay-Z.
It does sound like something special is gonna happen, Greg. I don't know.
Amazing. Earlier start time. You never know. So
Never know.
we'll see
15
what
minutes
happens.
of
I'm
rapping.
excited. We'll be back
Epic,
tomorrow.
epic. I mean, epic venue. You guys are all go. Daniel, you're not going. Greg, are you going? You're in your. You're at home.
I'm not going.
You're not going?
So
I'm not going. I have to rest up. I have to rest up for your birthday party. I gotta blow up all the balloons.
yeah,
Are
good
you going to
point.
be in Glens Falls tomorrow?
I think I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
You guys-
right.
Greg, do you remember at the Westville Bowl when we were blowing up balloons backstage during
absolutely.
the show?
Which is not a
Let me-
euphemism,
Oh, I got it.
Jam
Yeah.
World listeners.
No.
We were
Yeah,
actually
these are real
blowing up.
balloons. Blow them
Yeah.
up. Not
Are
I got
they-
roped
are
into like suddenly during
Yeah.
set break. I'm like, I'm in charge of blowing up balloons, and I'm like, great. I mean,
Almost
whatever,
passed
I'll-
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
basically.
and then they found that like kind of inflator thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have. Anyway,
So that's why I'm home, because I have a room full of balloons for Ryan tomorrow.
Well, thank you. I
So
appreciate it.
Ryan, what else do we need to cover?
I think we've covered everything we need to about last night, and then some. Some really solid tangents on today's episode, and I hope as the tour goes on, our collective, I feel like we're all kind of very ADHD type podcasters where we just kind of go wherever. So I'm looking forward.
I take
to,
offense to that.
But
It's type 2.
Consider
It's
myself
type
very
2
disciplined.
Type 2 podcasting. Thank you,
Right.
Greg. I think
Yep.
you coined that when you were on. We moved through stormy weather, but
Been going type 2 the whole time. Yeah.
it's by the time we were recapping Reading, it's going to be like a 2.5 hour episode where we're talking
Let's
about
do it.
like
Let's do it. I can't
great.
wait. I
It's
can't
a
wait to see
pleasure.
these. Can't
It's a
wait to see
pleasure.
these shows.
But as
Ryan-
someone who usually is listening to all of you speak, I will say you guys always make it back.
Thank
You do. You always make it back.
We
So-
always find the song again.
You got to finish
Yeah.
the song,
Exactly. So it's a pleasure as always podcasting with you lovely people. Excited to do it again tomorrow, and then the day after that, and then 6 more times over the next week and a half, which is very exciting.
Unbelievable.
So
It's
for
going
those
by
of
so
you-
fast.
Those of you watching who are there tonight, if you see Neil, myself, Tamara, Joey, say hi. If you are at home, like Greg or
Bruce
unfortunately,
too. Yeah.
Bruce, Bruce needs his time to recuperate for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are at home, enjoy the webcast. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
One quick thing too. Sorry, Ryan. That was a perfect outro. That was great.
Yeah.
But
You gotta,
Conscious Alliance is on tour.
yes.
This whole tour. Doing art that feeds. So if you donate 20 non-perishable food items or make a suggested cash donation,
Mhm.
which fluctuates by person, I guess. No, like you get a limited edition tour poster.
Oh, yeah.
So they're generally outside the main entrance of every venue. I'm not exactly sure where that is. At
Tonight.
Mohegan, maybe that was the table
They
that they
are-
needed.
They
Joey.
do also have a
We
table.
had someone ask us if we were Conscious Alliance. We had to say no.
Got it. Okay, so find Joey and give him all your
All your
cans.
canned food.
Non-perishables.
But seriously, providing meals for families in need. We're going into the holiday season. Very, very important thing. Another thing, Joey doesn't have Instagram. We need more content for our Instagram. So we're running a contest. Prizes involved to get the best picture of Joey on the rail today.
Oh, is someone like Jay Blakesberg eligible?
I can let him
I'd be
know.
on
Yeah,
it.
That video.
If I was just about to say, if it's as good as the elephant proof video you took, Greg.
it's an amateur photographer contest. Yeah, so yeah, Jay,
Who's in charge of the
we'll see if
prizes?
Jay will be a judge.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of the prizes, Greg? Is it Joey or is it you?
Not I. Yeah. Send me a
All right,
self-addressed stamped envelope, and perhaps.
Guys,
It's gonna be a stick of dung.
after tonight, we're going to be 37.5% of the way through this tour,
That's
which it
crazy.
feels like we're almost at the halfway point. And I hope you guys all have a blast. Those of you who are going, I mean, I know you will. It's not really going to be hard, but this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Really
Oh,
amazing.
and I totally forgot. Megan, who unfortunately couldn't join us today, will be at the show tonight. So if you see her, say hi. And I think she'll be with us tomorrow to recap.
If you can find her, she's one of the top 5 people to see a show with that I've found in my 40 years of show going or so. So just look out for her.
Find Megan.
All right, nice.
All right. Well, everybody, enjoy the show tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
All right, see you
Happy
guys.
early birthday, Ryan.